Hey guys, so I finally got accepted to be a DoorDash driver, and so today I kind of wanted to talk about my experience so far as a dasher. So basically the area that I'm in right now is pretty saturated with other delivery drivers. So a couple weeks ago I signed up for both Grubhub and DoorDash and then was put on the wait list for both. I also tried out Shipt Shopper pretty recently and I made a video about it as well. And I can tell you guys right now that food delivery is 10 times better than grocery shopping for Shipt or Instacart. That's just my opinion. Shipt does pay a little bit more per job, of course, but you are doing a lot more work. There's a lot of tedious details to pay attention to. And so to me, even though it is paying a little bit more, it's just not really worth it. It just feels a little too much like a normal part-time job to me. But anyway, I was put on the wait list for both Grubhub and DoorDash, and then after about 6 weeks, I was first accepted to be a Grubhub driver. And this was pretty exciting too, because I did read about some people who signed up for both apps, were put on the wait list, and had to wait for over a year to start doing deliveries and to become a driver. So I was pretty happy about being accepted just after a few weeks. So my first job or trip with Grubhub was about $17.35 for a total of about 13 and a half miles of driving. And I was thinking this is pretty good, right? I'm getting more than $1 a mile, and I heard that's kind of the goal, right? Making more than $1 per mile. And then I was thinking too, I could probably knock this out in an hour or less. But the only problem was when I got to the restaurant, they had just started making the order. And me being a little naive, it's my first ever delivery, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So I ended up just sitting there and waiting for 20 minutes. And so, of course, I had to text the customer and update them on their order and let them know that it was just starting to be made and that it might be a while. I didn't know that normally the food is supposed to be pre-made and bagged up for me to just grab and go. So I kind of just sat there and chilled for 20 minutes thinking this is normal and this is how it normally works. Also, the order was huge too. It was like 3 full meals plus 2 extra drinks plus 2 or 3 shakes.
Last but not least, foot long. Who's got the foot long?
So I was loading all the food into my car and coming back and forth, and I had to grab like 2 of those huge drink carriers and load it all into my car, but eventually I was able to get everything into my car. So that first Grubhub order was a success, but it did take a lot longer than it should have because the restaurant was pretty slow at making the food and preparing it. So I have done a few Grubhub orders, and then just a couple days ago I did finally get accepted to be a DoorDash driver. And so now with that, I'm able to do both Grubhub and DoorDash at the same time, also known as multi-apping. I mostly deliver in the evenings. I don't do this full time. I know some of you probably do, and some of the other YouTubers that make videos like this do as well, but I don't. I do have a regular 9 to 5 job, and I'm off around 4:30, which actually works out perfect because it's usually busier in the evenings anyway for some of these food delivery apps. I have nothing bad to say about Grubhub as of right now, but I definitely learned why people make more videos about DoorDash instead. What I like about DoorDash is it seems to cater more towards where I live or the exact location that I'm in. And so since I live pretty close to restaurants, I could literally take orders from my house since I'm so close, but I didn't really get that as much with the Grubhub. Grubhub usually has me take orders that are pretty far from my house, sometimes about 5 miles away. So DoorDash typically does have a little bit closer orders, allowing me to not have to drive too far. Another thing I like about DoorDash, and I don't know if Grubhub does this as well, but with DoorDash, you can actually stack orders on top of each other. For example, I accepted an order from Panda Express, and then like 5 seconds later, it asked if I wanted to stack another order on top of it at Wendy's, which was right across the street. So I accepted both and was able to do 2 in a row within the same trip, if that makes sense. I have to let you guys know that I haven't made too much money from either of these apps yet. I did the math and I'm only making about $11 an hour so far, but that's because I am accepting basically every single order that comes my way just so I can get a little bit more experience with them. So going forward, I am going to make sure that I'm accepting a little bit higher paying orders. That way it's actually worth my time and I'm making more than $11 an hour, because I have seen people that average around $20 to $25 an hour with these apps, and that's really kind of the goal. So that is my experience so far with DoorDash and Grubhub. I'll hopefully be making more videos like this in the future, so make sure to stick around. See ya.